they weren't supposed to find anything. That quiet assumption sat beneath the entire project, an unspoken agreement that space, for all its scale, was ultimately empty. It had to be. The alternative wasn't something anyone wanted to consider, not seriously. Dr. Elias Varn stopped believing that the moment he saw the distortion. It was small at first, buried deep in archived telescope data. A faint irregularity in a region that should have been perfectly still, flagged and dismissed by automated systems as interference. Most would have ignored it. Elias didn't. He had spent years studying deep field imagery, learning to recognize patterns hidden in noise. What caught his attention wasn't the distortion itself, but the fact that it appeared again, months apart, in separate data sets, always in the same region of space. And it was changing. He began pulling older records, comparing them side by side. The distortion didn't remain static. It shifted, slightly, subtly, but undeniably. It was moving. At first, the team dismissed his findings. Lens artifacts, gravitational lensing, calibration errors, each explanation delivered with confidence, as if certainty alone could resolve it. Elias didn't argue. He kept collecting data, because the movement wasn't random. It had direction. Weeks passed, and the anomaly became harder to ignore. The distortion began to sharpen at consistent intervals, not gradually, but in discrete steps, as if something were adjusting itself. Each change brought more clarity, bending surrounding starlight inward toward a central point that refused to fully reveal itself. Someone eventually said it. "It looks like an eye." No one repeated it, but the idea settled into the room like a stain. Once seen, it couldn't be unseen. Elias tracked the intervals. Every 17 hours, the structure refined itself. The curvature of light grew more precise, more deliberate, forming something that resembled focus rather than coincidence. That was when the realization began to take shape, not sudden, but inevitable. This wasn't a phenomenon. It was observation. The project escalated quickly after that. Additional observatories confirmed the anomaly. Independent systems ruled out equipment failure. The distortion was real, distant beyond comprehension, and yet behaving with a kind of intent no one could explain. Then Elias noticed something worse. The movement wasn't just directional, it was aligned. Overlaying the anomaly's shift against Earth's rotation revealed a pattern that tightened his chest the moment it became clear. The distortion wasn't drifting through space, it was tracking Earth. Silence followed the discovery. No one attempted to explain it away this time. There was nothing left that sounded reasonable. Within days, the project was classified. Access was restricted, communications monitored. What had started as curiosity was now something else entirely. But Elias kept watching, because the anomaly wasn't done changing. The distortion deepened, revealing layers that seemed to fold inward beyond visible space. At its center was something darker than absence, something that didn't just lack light, but consumed it. Looking at it felt wrong, like staring into a depth that shouldn't exist. Then, every screen in the facility flickered. For exactly 3 seconds, all systems displayed the same image. A perfect black circle, centered, still, watching.
After that, things accelerated. The intervals shortened. 17 hours became 12, then 8, then less. Each shift brought greater clarity, the distortion unraveling into something structured, something impossibly vast and precise. The resemblance to an eye was no longer metaphor. It was exact, and it was learning. The curvature began reflecting patterns,
land masses, atmospheric distortions, fragments of Earth itself. Not passively, but as if reconstructing what it saw, understanding it. Elias stopped leaving the facility. Sleep became irrelevant, replaced by the constant need to witness the next change. The others deteriorated faster, whispers, arguments, quiet panic spreading through the halls. But no one could bring themselves to look away. They needed to know. Then the distortion vanished. Not gradually, instantly. For the first time since its discovery, the warped starlight disappeared entirely, revealing what had been forming behind it. The eye. It filled the feed, embedded in the fabric of space itself, layered in a way that defied dimension. Its surface shifted subtly, as if composed of overlapping realities trying to align into something visible. And it was fixed directly on Earth. No one spoke. No one moved. Because this wasn't distant observation anymore. This was focus. Then it changed. The eye adjusted, not across space, but within it, tilting in a way that made no physical sense. Its gaze narrowed, centering on a single point. Coordinates flooded the screen: latitude, longitude, elevation. Elias felt the air leave his lungs as the numbers resolved. Their location. The facility. Every system began to fail at once. Screens glitched, power surged, alarms triggered and died mid-sound. People scrambled, shouting over each other, but their voices felt distant, drowned beneath something else. A presence. Elias couldn't move. His eyes were locked on the feed as the image sharpened further, as if distance no longer mattered. The eye wasn't just looking at the facility, it was looking through it. Through walls, through structure, through everything, through him. Then something behind it shifted. At first it was subtle, a deeper darkness moving within the vastness of the eye, like a shadow behind glass. But as it drew closer, the truth became unavoidable. The eye wasn't the entity. It was only what it used to see. What moved behind it was larger, closer, aware. Elias tried to step back, but his body refused. Every instinct told him to look away, to run, to shut his eyes and break whatever connection had formed. He couldn't, because it had already found him. The movement stopped, and for a moment that stretched far beyond time, the thing behind the eye stared directly at him. Not at Earth, not at humanity, at him. The final log triggered automatically. No one touched the system. No one spoke willingly. But a voice filled the recording anyway, low, distorted, and unmistakably not human. It looked back. The feed collapsed into darkness. Then everything ended. Not in an explosion, not in fire, but in absence. Across the planet, systems failed in perfect unison. Satellites went silent. Power grids dropped. Communications ceased as if erased mid-signal. There was no time to react, no time to understand, because the moment the connection completed, it crossed. Not through space, but through perception, through observation itself. Humanity had looked into something vast and unknowable, something that existed beyond distance, beyond physical limitation. And in doing so, it had shown it the way. The last recorded images, recovered from fragmented storage across multiple systems, all showed the same thing before failure. The eye, closer than before, and behind it, something no longer distant, something emerging. There were no survivors, no signals, no remains, no Earth. Only silence.
If you love horror, then like and subscribe for more Dark Tapes.